Vaccine apartheid and the pandemic of inequality, these socio-economic issues will come under sharp scrutiny as some of the world's most prolific activists come online today for what they're calling the Festival to Fight Inequality. Thousands across the globe are taking part in debates, discussions, arts and music over the next 48 hours. South African organizations like Youth Arise, the Assembly of the Unemployed and the Marikana Youth Organization are among many taking part in the festival. To tell us more, we're joined by one of the organizers live from Kenya's capital, Nairobi, activist Njoki Njewu. Njoki, thank you so much for joining us. Inequality, a huge problem in South Africa. So tell us what you hope to achieve with this online global festival.
We hope to bring together all of these people who have joined the Festival to Fight Inequality, to inspire each other, to encourage each other, but also to put governments and global institutions on notice that the world is watching and they are failing to meet the test, the standard in terms of fighting inequality. So it is an important time also to celebrate what we have achieved in the fight against inequality, in responding to the COVID-19 pandemic, and in the struggle for women land rights, for the rights of youth, etc.
The pandemic has really supercharged inequality, Njoki, and we've seen billionaires getting richer and we've seen some of the very poor suffering even more. What kind of solutions will you be discussing during this festival?
Well, one of the key proposals that we have is that for billionaires to be taxed, the wealth that they have gained during the pandemic, leave alone the wealth that they had before, but the wealth that they have gained during the pandemic to be taxed at 99%, which would allow governments to raise enough money to vaccinate everyone for COVID-19. And from research done by by ITUC, by Oxfam, by Fight Inequality Alliance, be able to give $20,000 to every unemployed worker around the world. It is a lot of money. It would literally raise trillions of dollars that would be able to do this. So we are saying that one of the problems is that the rich have not been taxed enough. They do not pay their fair share of taxes, and they need to do that so that we can fight inequality.
We've seen these taxes for the super rich in place during times of struggle in the past. I think after the two world wars, there were places in Europe and maybe in Japan as well where they taxed the super rich in order to help recover. How would this work in an African context, though?
Well, I think that one of the things that we have seen happen even on a very small scale with the pandemic is that we saw African governments step up to provide water, to provide universal health services, to be able to provide basic income grants and other things that were very necessary in order to deal with the pandemic as it unfolded. So I do believe that our governments and governments around the world are able to take these resources and use them as needed. The problem we have right now is that there are not resources available. There's not money made available, and taxing the rich would provide these resources and also prioritize the needs of the most vulnerable.
Njoki, we saw at the beginning of this pandemic across the world, governments made funds available to try and assist those in need. And there was a lot of corruption associated with those funds, not just in Africa, in America as well. We had people claiming benefits for employees that didn't exist. How do we make sure if, say, you're able to tax the billionaires 99% for what they've made during the pandemic, how do we make sure that that money reaches the people it needs to reach and that we don't have everybody trying to grab their bit of this pot of gold?
Well, I think that we should really understand that what our priority is to reach the people who are most vulnerable. And I do believe that, in the saying that perfection is the enemy of good enough. And I think we can't hold back doing our best to help the most vulnerable, because there are a few greedy people who are going to be trying to get rich. But I also think that one of the things that is different in 2021 is that people are more alert and paying attention to resources that are available to them. They are paying attention to duty bearers, to policymakers, and demanding both what they believe and what is also their right to get. And so public participation and attention to access and to proper deployment of resources, it is at a much higher level. And I think part of what the Fight Inequality Alliance does in every country where we are working is for people to pay attention and to hold accountable duty bearers and governments and members of their community, to make sure that those who deserve, those who are in need, those who are vulnerable, get what is due to them.
Njoki, unfortunately, I've run out of time, but very quickly, how do we get involved?
Well, you can join the Fight Inequality Alliance at www.fightinequalityalliance.org. This is on the festival is on Facebook, it's on YouTube, and we hope that as many people can join the festival, but also for each of us to get active in our community. There is a lot of work to be done, and this work has to be done by each and every one of us. We are the change that needs to happen. We have to hold governments accountable. We have to hold our communities accountable. We have to hold ourselves accountable so that people and the planet do not continue to be sacrificed for the sake of making profit and for the sake of lining the coffers of big pharma and others who are extracting resources from the African continent, from our communities, and from the planet.
Njoki Njehu, a Kenyan activist and organizer for the Festival to Fight Inequality.